Hello, this is Max Drake. I want to talk about connecting a new device into Home Assistance. Now, why would I want to do that? I could actually just pair it with my device on my app, and then I've got that connected. That's fine. But if I want this, which is a Tuya sensor device, to activate a tapu bulb, my app won't do it. So you need something which has got this kind of ecosystem that covers a lot of the different devices coming through that we can use to cross manufacture activate things. So I can use a sensor from tapu to activate from Tuya to activate a bulb from tapu. So this is the idea. This is the process that we're going to go through here. So I've just found Tuya quite difficult as far as a lot of other ones, because they're like the Sonoff ones, you just bring the thing into stuff like that. But another thing with this is this one here is a sensor, so it's battery operated, and therefore it's going to be running under a Zigbee hub. In fact, I've just added another sub hub to the Zigbee system that I have, and I've added this to the sub hub through there. So the way that normally and if we just go therefore, if we just go into the settings and we go into the devices and services, we have the main Tuya app that we have. This is the Cloud app, and this is part of the official apps that you can actually get in Home Assistant. So if you search for an app through here, add an integration and say add Tuya, this is also showing ones that I've now added onto them. So there's Tuya Local and Local Tuya integration, and this Tuya version 2 was historic, and I don't actually need it. But anyway, that's the official one. Now the Local Tuya integration is not an accepted one from Home Assistant. So you can use this one, HACS. So you can add a add-in called HACS, which is Home Assistant Community Store, and underneath that you're able to bring in an add-on to Home Assistant from a GitHub repository that has been designed for Home Assistant. So before we talked about how to set up Local Tuya, this is this particular video through here. We talked about the Local Tuya app that you need to get the device's information to be able to add it on there. So when we try and add a device, first of all you've got to connect with your Cloud account, configure. And the second thing that you've got to do is when you come and try and do it, you need to get the name, you need to get the local key, you need to get the host, you get the device, and then which protocol version you are, and then you can submit it to bring it into the Local Tuya. So supposedly you can access those things. This is the third time I'm doing this video, so I'm going through. Now the thing that I use to actually go and extract some of this information is that I use a TiyTuya from Jason A. Cox, and this is actually a Python script that you can use. You download a TiyTuya library onto your PC or wherever, and it's a library, and then you can, if you've got Python on your computer, you can actually just run it, and this pulls out a lot of information. So coming back to the very basics of the thing, when you pair this with your phone, it then goes and sends that information up to the cloud. Now in the cloud you've got your Tuya accounts, but you've also got your developer platform. So if we go into the developer platform and go into the cloud area, you need to set up your own project. So you end up creating a project to do with a certain place, like I've got it for the house. But this does so many other things. It does a lot of other developers who are creating apps and creating tools and creating devices and things. So it's a very, very complex flipping website, I can tell you. So you go into the cloud, you create your thing. So if we go and look at that, when we look at my thing, Bob, you end up with your ID, you end up with your project code. So this is the project code, and then you've got a secret ID that you need to have through there as well. So you need that when we go into the repository at the beginning to connect your Local Tuya that we've downloaded through the HACS through here, we put the custom repository and we copied and pasted the GitHub repository into there, and then it adds the app into there, and we can upload it into Assistance. And this just exposes those devices, that the ones that are not exposed when we come into in the main Tuya app. In the main Tuya app, we have the devices, but it's got all of these unsupported, so it's not showing any of the information or any of the things that we can access. So how do we get to the bits that we actually need? So this pulls it down. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to use the Tuya Cloud add-in app to come into here, and we need it to sync with the Tuya Cloud. Now, if we just go into the Tuya Cloud platform and look at it a bit further, one of the things that I'm using here, so when we're in the Tuya platform, we've then got to go into the API Explorer. Now, when we go to the API Explorer, there's all this stuff to do with space management, there's all this stuff to do with device management, there's stuff to do with device control, send and action, query properties, there's device groups, there's scenes and other things like that. It's daunting. And all you want to do is know a little bit of information about your device. So one of the things you can do is query devices in project, and we're going to have a page size of maybe, I think this lets me go up to 20. So if I go 20, and well, if I go up to 30 and go submit request, it'll error, and it just says success false code, too many, param size too much. So if we put it down to 20, and it gives us, and then I can actually look at my early devices that I put in there, and then the latest one that I've just put in, which is not that one that I want. I haven't paired, so it isn't actually paired here at the moment, so I need to come in and pair mine. Oops, oh sorry. Now I need to go and pair that, so sorry, I've just got to come into here. I thought I had sensor, and I need to go into, I need to pin it just to make sure that it's flashing and red. It's not, there we are. And then I need to find the Zigbee one, and we're going to connect to that hub there. And is it blinking? Yes. I didn't really want to do this, and hopefully it'll connect the device through there. There we are. So it's done. Now it's done through there. We've got that one through. I'm just going to go for the settings and just turn off the motion alarm, otherwise it just makes a flipping racket. And then if I go through and edit, I want to change its name to, I'm just going to call it PL2, well 3, 2, and go save. So now that is actually existing inside. So if I now refresh this, and let's just do a 30 request, and we get an error, and then we do a 10, so it should be the latest one that comes through there. And the next one that we've gone through, we've got a custom 9 PL2. So that's now connected that device. We're looking on the cloud. So this is the cloud. And if we just look at my platform, my data center is Western American Data Center. So I'm in New Zealand, so it's right way across the other side of the Pacific that it's getting that stuff. It's come through there. It's got an ID. It has got an IP address because it is actually under the Zigbee hub, so we have to use the Zigbee hub. Interesting thing is showing you the longitude and latitude of where that device is actually set up, and it's the other interesting thing is it hasn't got a local key. When you set it up on your device, or I think when you pull it into the home assistant, no, when you set it up on your device, it creates a local key here. So we need that inside of this. So at this point in time, we had 25 devices. So I'm now going to reload all of these. So these are going to go and talk, and it's going to sync between the Tuya on my server and the Tuya Cloud, or the Western United States Digital Center, and it's going to add that. So now I've got 26 devices. So if I go into there, we can actually see this one, PL2. So here, so the one thing that we can actually do straight away, instead of actually going into the local Tuya, this is another one that I'm actually exploring. I actually need to find, you have the device, so we've named this device here PL2, but it also has two entities underneath it. It should have three, but at this point in time it has two. And we can add that to the dashboard, and we're going to add it to the Max1 dashboard, and add to the dashboard, and we're going to add this one to the dashboard, which is the battery through there. So at this point in time, we can actually go into the dashboard, and here we have the new ones, PL2. Now if I go in and edit in the dashboard and go down and look at that one there and look at show the code editor, that is its actual sensor name. So it's called binary_sensor.pl2_motion. So that's the motion sensor, and it's a binary sensor, so it's basically on or off. So we can actually copy that, and we can save that, and we can now and then the second one that we can go through and copy is that we can go and edit that one, go into the code editor, and this one's called sensor PL2 battery. Boom, save. So now I can go into this one here because it's a sensor, although actually it does something active, but I'm going to leave it through here. I've already actually just copied another sensor through. I basically copied what was done before. So here's the one that I had before, and I think I'm going to call this, I think I called it PL2, and it's green and it has that location. But the ID of that sensor, what I can actually just do is actually just go into binary sensor P, and it pops up, and I've actually got PL2 motion. So that's the one that I actually need for the motion. So if I move across it, it should say it's detected. So if I'm just going to put a box over it so that we're not activating it. What can I do? I'll put it in the box so that it's not being triggered straight away. So I can hide that over there and it'll settle down. So at this point in time, we can save it into there, and on this one here, we can go through and we can find the one, because I've done it before, I've already done it. So that's PL1X2, and this one here's the PL2, and this one here, we can now put Shift V, and it's the center battery, and we'll see if we save that, not showing correctly. So let's just go and edit that, go down to the bottom. It's got two S's in there, so there's sensor, and now it's showing us there, so that is correct. So we've got to save there. As I think I mentioned on the previous one, these ones here are a PIR sensor and also a lux sensor, but for some known reason I haven't been able to get the lux side working. So where I've got the ID for it, it's got unavailable, so it isn't working at this point in time. So I'm only using the sensor side of that. So at this point in time, I've actually got the sensor through there. So done. Now normally what I would actually have to do, because that's actually just come in and connected. Now I just want to see at this point in time whether I can actually do an automation through there, because it will save a little bit of a hassle further on. So if I now come into settings, so what I want to do, that's detected. So I've just waved my hand over that particular detector. It's detected, so it's acknowledging my motion. So what I want to do is that I want to get my new PIR sensor to activate a TAPU light. So this is Tuya, this is TAPU. So we will go in and do an integration, an automation. So inside the automation, we're going to create an automation, we're going to create a new one. Now there are ones, I'm just going to leave that at the moment. When I do create, there are motion activated lights. So there's ones, pre-set up ones that you can do, but I'm going to do it from raw. So we're going to create that. So we need the trigger, and the trigger is going to be our PIR sensor. So we're going to have a device, and the device name is PL, and it's the PL2. And it's started detecting motion. Now we can actually have a duration if we wanted to lag in it. So we want to detect motion for 1 second or 2 seconds or something. We don't want any of that. We just want to detect motion, and then we want an action. We want to go to another device, and this device is called kitchen. So we've got a kitchen bulb or a temperature humidity kitchen. So we want the kitchen bulb, and then what do we want to do with the kitchen bulb? We can turn it on or turn it off. So, or toggle or increase the bulb's brightness or decrease the bulb's brightness. There's a variety of things we can do. We just want to turn it on at this point in time. So we're going to do that, and we're going to put the brightness level at 100. For some unknown reason, we're turning the bulb on, but it then wants some condition within that. So we're just going to put brightness level 100. We can do something at this point in time. So if we go save, and we're going to call this PL2X just for the hell of it, and we save that. So now we've saved that. If we come into Max 1 through there, that's on clear, that's on blue. If I wave, that's detected, that's activated. Now you see there was a little bit of a lag between when I was waving and that was detected, and then when that lit up. Now it stayed lit up because of the fact that we haven't done anything else. We just said when we wave, turn it on, which is not too good. So we're just going to go through another little bit of an exercise through that one and go back into the automations. We're going to find the PL, there we are. And what we're going to do is we're going to add another action, and we're going to add an action called time, and we're going to say time, wait for time to pass. So we're going to say wait 10 seconds. And then we're going to add another action, and basically we're going to use the same bulb and we're going to turn it off. So we can just duplicate that, and then inside of here, instead of turning the bulb on, we're going to turn off the bulb, and that's what we're going to do. So there's the save for that particular point. Now if we come back into the Max 1 through there and get into the dashboard, still on at this point in time, but that's clear. So the sensor is clear, the bulb is off. So if I wave over my sensor, it's detected, and then the bulb comes on. But you see that delay through there. Now it should be, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, there it's off. So when we waved over the sensor, whoomph, you see it took a couple of milliseconds or bits of seconds to get there. So it sent that signal. Where has it sent that signal? Because it's paired with my device, it sent it up to the cloud, and then it says that's activated. So it's come down, and then it's saying, oh, that condition, that state has changed from clear to detected. So it's changed from 0 to 1. And then it's gone into the automation. The automation says, oh, when that goes into a 1, you need to go and work on the bulb. So we need to, so inside Home Assistant, it says, oh, Mr. Bulb, you've got to turn on now. So it then turns the bulb, or it then sends a signal to the bulb to turn on to the sensor in the bulb. So whatever criteria it is, we need to command for that. That then goes up to the Tuya Cloud, and it says the Tuya state at this point is off, and then now we want to turn it on. So it then sends it up there, and then says right, and comes back down again. So that's where you get the delay. So just watch the delay on here. So I'm moving across, active detected, then the bulb goes on. Then you count the 10 seconds, and then it goes off again. So again, it counts the 10 seconds, then it goes the signal. So you see there's a little bit of lag on these, so they're not totally instantaneous. Like if you're in England or in Europe, and well, let's just say England, and there was an England data center there, then the actions would be a lot quicker. Because I'm in New Zealand and my data center is in Western America, it's having to go right away across the water, and then it's got to swim all the way back again. So twice it's got to do that for those things to actually happen. So that's why there's a little bit of a lag. So I've noticed on some of the ones that I'm activating, there's that lag that I have to consider and do. So it's not quite what you need. So at this point in time, we've been able to do all of that without actually using the local Tuya to bring things in. So I'm actually wondering why I need to do this, but I'll go through the exercise anyway because I've been using the Tuya apps. I only realised, it's only the last time I did this that I suddenly realised I've got the IDs of these things. Now another way where you can get the IDs is if you go into developer and if you go into states, if you go something like binary, or actually you don't even need to do the binary stuff. All we can do is if we just go into the PL2 and then it filters out anything to do with, so there's an automation called PL2X and it's got some information on it there. There's also the binary sensor that's off, and if I wave over it now it goes to on and then it'll flick back to reset to off, I think. And then it's got the battery level there, so I can actually get those actual descriptors through there. So I don't really need to go into the Tuya, the local Tuya to add those devices. But if I were to do that, so first of all I'm just going to reload just to make sure that it's the freshest as it is at this point in time, so the integrations are reloaded. So we're going to add, so the first thing is if I'm going to add an entry, this then says, this is what I need to do at the very beginning to connect my cloud IP account, which is the one in the IoT platform through here, this information in here. I need to, sorry, where's that gone? I need to suddenly say, well, mine's in the US, then I need to give the client ID, the secret, and I need to give the user ID, and then I need to submit it so that I then connected that cloud account with the local Tuya integration, not the Tuya Cloud integration. This is linking those two directly. So if I want to now add a new device to part of the local Tuya, I then have to go in and get this information here. So I need the name, I need the host. Now the host is actually the Zigbee hub because that's the only IP the whole Zigbee environment has, and then I've got to get the device ID and the local ID and which protocol version has I got. So where I can do that is if I come into Python after I've I went into here and tried in here, oh sorry, no, into this one here, and it's got a bit of Python code. It tells you how to import, so you've got to go pip install TiyTuya, which brings the library into your thing once you've got Python set up. So it's then got that library that it can access. So inside there it's got some script. But what I actually found is that basically if you're on the command line, so I'm in PowerShell in here, if I'm in there I can use this Python /m the blast Control-Shift-V for here, Python -m TiyTuya wizard, and if I do that I've got to give my credentials of what my IoT account is, use existing credentials, download the mapping, and then poll the local devices. So when it does all of this, it's polling all of those things and it writes it to a file called TiyTuya raw, just JSON. So it's a JSON file with all of that data in there. So we just let this do, and so if we go into the JSON raw and if we just go PL and we go to 1 of 5 and we go, here we are, PL2, we can come in, we get all of this information. The category is a PI, its ID is here, so we have the ID, but I think, now it has the local key. Now we did notice when we were on the Tuya Cloud, it didn't have a local key, but here it's created a local key that we can actually use for that. So inside here, if I actually just take the device name, which is PL2, so we're going to copy that, and if I go and get the ID, which is that one there, usually starts with EB, and then we get this, the key, which is usually a funny name through there. So we've now got most of the data through there. Now when we scroll through here, um, it's got a couple of things in here I noticed. It's got a range of low, middle and high for the PIR sensitivity, and it's got a code here for the battery percentage. So if I just go PIR at this point in time and go into the next part of it, I want to find the Lux 1. In here, oh no, it hasn't got that. No, it's jumped into another thing. Yeah, so it hasn't. It's gone into a different device for that. Okay, so that's one part of it. What I actually find is with the scan. Now you notice with that one, when it was coming through, it's got some of the data we need, but the one thing it hasn't got. So the next one that you type through is Python -m TiyTuya scan, and that does the same process or very similar process to the Tuya raw. Apart from it also says what version the device is. So when we were looking at the setting for, whoops, wrong one, doing it, we needed the name, the host, the device ID, the local key, and we also needed the protocol version. When we do the Python scan one, if we come through there and we just do the PL2 and go and find that, you'll find that it's part of this. So it's a sub. So that means it's under the Zigbee hub, and this has got one, it's doing the PIR, it's doing the battery percentage, and it's doing the PIR percentage, and the other, now that one there is a bit confusing, is that it doesn't, I'm sorry, I'm still in Tuya raw. So if I now go into snapshot, and I do that PIR, enter. Oh, PL. Next. No, it doesn't seem to have found it. Let's just do a PIR, and so it's still got. This is still registering the previous one where I named it in the previous exercise, so something slightly squiffy's gone there. Anyway, because I've got that in the Tuya raw, I might just try doing that Tuya scan again and seeing if it helps. It shouldn't be doing that. Just close that, don't save. It might blurb again. It should come through with those things, but the other ones that normally that have in the snapshot usually says these other things, like you can actually have the power meter that has reading the current, it's reading the power, it's reading the voltage, it's doing a lot of other things at the same time. But the other thing that it gives is the version, so you can see which versions has come through. So we'll actually just go PL and see if that comes through, and we'll, here we are, the PL2. So now that's come through. I think I had the other file open and it wasn't overwriting it. So on this one here, when we go through, it's got version 0. Sorry, version blank, so we haven't got that sort of thing. So I could come into here now and I can actually go Control V, I can go the name, and we can go to the host, which is 192.168.1.24, which is the hub, the Zigbee hub, and then the device name is the one beginning with E, and the local one is the one with odd little things in. There we go. And you can just leave a stab on whichever one you want, which version, because it's just saying it's not important. And then this brings it in to the local Tuya. And what it says is there's a connection to the device's success, but no data points found. and sometimes when you try doing it under different scenarios, like doing the different protocols, it will bring in the Lux one as well. At this point in time, I don't know why it's not bringing in the Lux ones here. Now, after doing that, we're able to, if we come back into here, into the settings and into developer tools, we should see if we can get any more data, and we just go PL2, and it's still only showing exactly the same as what we had before. So I'm not too sure whether I was using the local Tuya to bring data in, but usually that will show these things, but in fact you don't need to do that. I think inside the Tuya Cloud app, just bring it in, and then in these ones here, add the sensor ID, in the Tuya, go to the specific device that you actually have, which in this case is the PL2, and add these items to the dashboard, and then get those details through there. Now, the other thing that I do just want to draw your attention to through here is we're going to go into the settings. Oh, go away. How do I get out of that? I think I've got to come through and do a submit, and it doesn't like it, so it's not letting me do anything on that one. So let me just do a refresh and onto that one there. If we come back into the settings and go into the automations and scenes, I just want to draw your attention to this particular thing. This is the one that we've actually got. Instead of doing it with the visual steps that you kind of, yeah, we've got to do that as well. So sorry, before I'll draw your attention to this, and then I'll come back. If we look at the YAML, you'll see that the motion detector ID, device ID, is different to the Tuya one. So because Home Assistant is pulling in things from a whole lot of different places, like Sonoff, or from Apple, or from maybe there's an Android thing, well, it's bringing in my Android phone and all of those. All of those, Android will actually have its own device ID, Apple will have its own device ID, Tuya has its own device IDs, etc, etc, etc. So inside Home Assistant, so we don't care what yours are, we'll associate your one with, we'll call it something different. So Home Assistant has its own list of IDs. So when you bring something in, it'll create an ID and then the entity underneath it. So therefore we know that when we were doing the motion detector, this one here, it had two entities. It had one for the battery level, and it had a binary sensor for the thing on and off. So therefore we can see this saying this is the device ID, and we're looking at the binary sensor that we've decided to call this. So again, when you're in the Home Assistant doing the automations and things like that, it's creating completely different codes for what you're doing. So just be aware of that. So at this point in time, it's then saying, oh, well, go to the tapu bulb in the kitchen, which has this ID, and go and do it. Now, the only phase where I've actually been able to see this is when I've looked at the YAML code for something. I can't seem to find it. I haven't been confident enough to go delving into the database to be able to do any of those things at all. So just be aware of that. So coming back to this particular automation through there, now we've got the motion sensor, so just coming back into there, and we go into there. When I go and turn my sensor on, there it's detected, and my kitchen bulb comes on. So that's happening 24/7. Anytime I walk past that detector, it triggers and off it goes. And then after 10 seconds, it goes off again. But we don't want that to happen. We actually only want it to happen at night time, because we don't care about bulbs turning on in the middle of the day. We don't need light when there's a great big orb in the sky. So what we can actually do in that case is that we can add to our automation through here, add a condition. Now, one of the nice things in Home Assistant that it actually has is this thing called sun. So and if we actually just go to the dashboard and zip down to the bottom, 3 of the ones through here, if I go into, I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to go into Developers Tools, and I'm going to go into States, and I'm going to go into Sun. And you see there's quite a few ones here. There's sun next dawn, sun next dusk, sun next midnight, sun next noon, sun next rising, sun next setting, sun solar azimuth, sun solar elevation, sensor sun rising, sun, I don't know what the sun is, above the horizon, maybe actually. So it's got all of these things and devices to use. In my dashboard, I've only chosen to actually display 3. Sun next dawn, sun next dusk, and sun next midnight. And all it's saying is, you are here now, what's happening? So the next dusk is in 1 hour. So what I can actually do when I'm testing this is I can go into settings, and I can suddenly saying before sunset and after sunrise. So that means this is in daytime. So what I can use this to test it. And then if it tests out okay, so I've added this extra condition in here, and I've got it in reverse order, just so I can go into my dashboard and I can trigger and see if the bulb comes on. So the bulb comes on. So I know adding that extra condition now works. So I can now go back into that condition, and I can actually say, no, I want it to happen after sunset and before sunrise. So if I go save now, and I go back into there, and I hit that sensor, it's detected, nothing happens, because it's not after sunset. Now, one of the things which I quite like about this is that you can do an offset, you know, so like if you're looking at the sun setting, but you know, like if I was looking to put Venetian blinds into this area here, but I know that I lose sun from this window maybe 2 hours before sunset. So I can actually put that precondition in. I can say 2 hours before sunset, close all my roller blinds to keep all the heat in, because I've got no more suns coming in at that particular point in time. So that's one thing that's quite nice to be able to do, is to use that shift. Now, again, one of the things which I was playing with these is that these have a lux level, so it adds a sort of an extra level of granularity to what you're doing. So if I had this room here, and there was a bloody great tree standing outside, so generally it's quite a dull room. But if it's a strong sunny day in summer, and there's good strong sunshine, it's bright enough, so I don't want the lights to trigger in there. But you can actually end up setting it to a specific light level. So on that app at the moment, if we just go through and actually just look at it and the details of that, it's actually saying that the outside lux is about 2,800 lux. Now, on a really, really, really bright sunny day, it can get up to about 5,000 lux. It's amazing just how much your eyes can actually adjust to lux. It's phenomenal. Now, normally if you've got a corridor or something like that, you'd have maybe 200 lux, 100 lux, 200 lux. You just need to see that you're not going to trip over anything, and it's basically I'm moving down the corridor, and you can have a low level of light. You know there's not generally going to be obstacles down there, but you can discern that. But if you're sort of writing and you're working on a work table, you usually want about 500 lux. So what you can actually have this occurring is that you can suddenly say, I can set it to 150 lux. So if the light is below 150 lux, turn the lights on. And I can have the condition that it's after dusk and before dawn or whatever, but it can also work in the daytime. So if you have a dull day, it'll just give you a bit more lighting that you can do. So this is where light meters or something like that, or lux meters are good for those ambiguous spaces. You have a small room and it's not orientated, it gets a little bit of borrowed light from another room or something like that, so sometimes it's a little bit too dull. So just saying dusk and dawn doesn't quite work, so you can use a lux one to actually trigger in between. So I just wanted to mention that just about it. So what have we done? I've redone this video because of the fact that I don't think you actually need to use the Local Tuya app to actually get a lot of your, as long as you can identify what your sensor name is, you can actually put it into your thing and use it. So you can get that through the developers tools by using the ID. So that was called a PL2 that we did, and that's identifying that we've got an automation using the PL2 and that we got a motion and a battery one. So we have 2 entities and 1 device. Device is called PL2 and the entity is called binary sensor PL2 motion, and the other one sensor PL2 battery, which is going to give me a percentage between 0 and 100. So if you can get that, you can go, and the other thing is inside the Tuya, app itself, when you've reloaded, so you've synced with the cloud, so you brought, when you paired, the data's gone to the cloud, but you then have to pair the Tuya on your Home Assistant with the cloud to bring that data down. And when you've brought it down into there, you can choose your specific device, which is this place one is there, and then we can add these ones to the dashboard. Then inside the dashboard, go into edit mode, go into edit the code, and in the YAML file you can actually get the sensor ID through there to then add to your plan if you're doing a plan. I like plans. I think they're good because again, all the information, most of the information you need of a specific sort in one place, and we just turn you off. You should be on. So I hope you found that of interest. This is the 3rd time I've done this particular one, and I've had to reset it. It's quite nice. It's quite nice to have found a few things out while I've been doing this, and one of them is being able to go into the developers platform, go into the API area, and restore factory defaults for a particular device. But to do that and get the device ID, I've either got to get it from the cloud platform through the query devices in project, so that I can get the device ID, put it into here and reset it. So basically it throws it off the app. You can delete it from the app and then you can reconfigure it again. And one of the what I did the first time I had this sensor working, I paired it with the Zigbee hub, and the Zigbee hub is located up here. So my device is sitting here at the moment while I've been playing with it, and the Zigbee hub here. But I've ended up with a sub hub located here. So this time around, I paired this with this device. So it allows that flexibility. Oh, I've connected it to one thing, but now I've changed my mind. I want to connect it somewhere else. So that's a nice bit of flexibility that you can actually do and enjoy. So, and to me, I would actually say, if you're getting to your devices and you just need to connect them in there, you basically need to know the sensor ID of what you're using so that you can actually put it on your dashboard or wherever you're doing it in your automation. You need that ID, and so the developer tool will maybe find that thing so that you can put them somewhere. But as I said, I like them on my dashboard in this particular location. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you did, thumbs up. If not, op pan your heart. Thank you.